Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Understable Discourse in this weekly edition of The Chain Reaction, where we take a look at things that happened this past weekend and generally react to it. Now, this past weekend, we didn't have any Pro Tour events, as it's the last off week before we jump into the playoffs, which are going to happen back-to-back at both the Green Mountain Championship and the MVP Open. So a lot of pros decided to use this time in different ways. Some hit up several events, some spent the time getting rest or promoting new disc releases, and just using extra time to prepare for the upcoming playoff event. Because for some players, this upcoming set of 2 weekends means a lot for their opportunities to get into the Pro Tour Championship and leave a reasonable mark on the end of their season. So let's talk about where some people are at and what some people are doing. First, we head out to the Seth Burton Memorial, where Greg Barsby edges out Chandler Kramer by a stroke, and on the FPO side, Macy Valadiaz just walks into the victory by 19 strokes. I think Macy came out this season pretty well at the Supreme Flight Open. I would love to see her get a little more, gets a few more reps in and come out next year with a bit of a splash. She has a lot of talent and I think can be really exceptional on the FPO side of the Pro Tour. But we also, at the Svartbaksmala Open, Hjalte Jensen takes the big win out there. Speaking of international events, we had the Canadian Open this weekend. I know one of my favorite events to watch on one of the off weeks. Typically every season I go back to the big year that Nate Sexton took down the Canadian Open, but Thomas Gilbert was not able to defend his homeland, as both Ryan Mon and Austin Bates go into a playoff where Mon gets the W to take down the championship just up north. And trying her hardest to win for Canada, even though Thomas could not get it done, Rebecca Dawn found herself with a 4-stroke lead after the second round and kind of cruising to a possible easy win. However, an incredible final round from Paige Pierce would be enough with Rebecca Dawn's not so fantastic final round for her to take the event. And all other cashing players were Canadian, but Paige Pierce, the American, takes down the Canadian Open. Big things from Rebecca Dawn this year. She's definitely one of my candidates for Rookie of the Year on the FPO side. I think she should win 100%. If you want to know more about the different awards that we're going to be seeing at the end of the season, some predictions that we made, go check out last week's episode on Wednesday, where we walk through all of them and make the predictions of who's going to win everything, kind of give you a lay of the land of where everybody is at right now. Another very classic event that goes down this time of the year are the Maine State Championships. On the FPO side, Jessica Weiss takes down Jay Weezy, takes down a big win over Lisa Fakis, Hannah Manis, and Erica Stinchcomb. And on the MPO side, there was really never a doubt, as Andrew Marweed started with the lead, held the lead, and finished with the lead, going wire to wire over players like Harry Chase, Colton Montgomery, Matt Bell, and James Proctor. Another fun event this past weekend, the Pie Guys sponsored the Syracuse Open in Liverpool, where Owen Scoggins decided that she didn't really need any rest and she just wanted to get more reps in and more reps in dominance. So she takes the slice of the winner pie by dominating the field by a full 8 strokes and staying hot on an off week before a big chance this weekend for her. I think she's a candidate for Player of the Year. A big win at GMC would, I think, certainly emphasize her case when it comes to chasing down that particular accolade for the 2025 season. Meanwhile, over on the MPO side, Nathan Queen takes down the winner's circle by a handful of strokes in dominant fashion. And last but not least, this weekend was the Failure Lake Classic. You wouldn't have seen that on the PDGA website because it is stop number 6 for the Go Throw Tour. And it's been a minute since we checked in on the Go Throw Tour. I know they had kind of a hot and flashy start, and it kind of feels like it's fizzled a little bit. We're going to be taking a closer look at their tour during the off season, talk about some of the highs, the lows, and kind of get a lay of the land of where we think they're going to be next year, and especially with the entry of the Jomez Pro Series and just how that all is going to work itself out. But this event went down a little bit closer to my neck of the woods, as Failure's not too far from me. It's kind of close to where I used to live. There was no FPO division for this one. It was just MPO and MP40. And just like last year, this was a battle between Jake Hebenheimer, who's the defending champion, and Anthony Barella. And while it was pretty close after the first round with other players like Lucas Oberholzer-Hess and Luke Humphreys in the mix, ultimately it would come down to Hebenheimer down the stretch playing some of the best disc golf he's played all year long, coming off an incredibly hot performance at the Discraft Great Lakes Open, and he ended up winning by 6 total strokes over Austin Turner and AB in a dominant display of just control. And honestly, really fun to watch him throw. And there have been a lot of talks recently about how we often don't think of Jake Hebenheimer when we list our top most powerful throwers in disc golf, and he really should be near the top of that list. So really go check that out over on the Go Throw channel. Really fun to watch. Beautiful course. Love to see them playing it. And before we finish, and I know it's a short episode for you today as we only kind of look forward to the events this past weekend, and honestly, I'll be truthful, I was away all weekend for a wedding, so I did everything I could to watch as much disc golf as possible. I've gotten caught up in the last couple of days, so that kind of explains the shorter episode for you this week. And there's just not too much newsworthy coming out in the disc golf scene these days. However, there was one major storyline that happened just this past evening that I feel like we have to just take a moment to talk about. We saw a post come out from Kristin Latt about 12 or 13 hours ago, posted to Instagram and her Facebook. I'm going to read it for you here. I'll also put it on the screen for everyone to see. But she says, "I know I've been a little distant lately, but sometimes I need to retreat into my shell to get a better understanding of myself. After taking that time, I've gained clarity and made a decision that brings significant change to my life. I have decided to end my season for this year and not begin another one next year, with no conclusive plans beyond that. Before this season even began, I had been wrestling with inner conflict whether to go on tour due to family matters. I thought I could set those feelings aside while competing, but I ultimately found myself facing multiple injuries and severe anxiety. This made me realize that I don't currently have the capacity to maintain the same rhythm, and that change is not only necessary but long overdue. Deep down, I know my heart has been longing for it. Closing this chapter and stepping away into the next has not been easy, but I feel at peace with my choice. I'm excited to create space for new experiences. I love playing disc golf and will stay active in the community, but looking to lean into other roles like organizing events with my husband and sharing my knowledge with others, while also having the opportunity to focus on my family and home. I am deeply grateful to the many people and companies who are and have been by my side through so many beautiful years of my career. To my husband, who first believed I had what it takes to reach the top, your unwavering support means everything. To my best friend Marja, who has literally held my hand through thick and thin, what would I do without you? To my biggest sponsor, Latitude 64, who made it possible for me to travel the world and compete on the biggest stage for nearly a decade, I couldn't have asked for a better partner. And finally, my heartfelt gratitude goes to all my friends, family, and fans who have shown me so much love and support. You are incredible. Together, we have made it possible to turn something ordinary into a miracle. This will be my only statement on the subject for now. I'm choosing to focus on this new chapter and will share updates when I feel there is something more to say. Thank you for your understanding." And this is some pretty big news coming out from Kristin. People have been asking kind of where she's been, and we saw her withdraw from U.S. Women's, and there's been a lot of speculation as to whether or not we would see her again this year, and if she would be playing disc golf anymore. And it turns out the people saying she wouldn't be playing anymore could very well be right. I don't think the actual answer is she's not playing disc golf anymore. I think it's very likely we could see her take the season off, not really pop up or play too much next year other than what she wants to do, and we might see her jump out for the European events. Obviously, she's done everything she needs to do to represent. Latitude 64 came out and basically said they're going to continue to support Kristin for however long she wants to be supported. So I could very well see her coming out and playing in a couple of European events, making some appearances, and that being that as she takes time to enjoy the game. And I mean, let's be honest here, people. When you have to travel across, the ocean and go international, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and be away from family and away from your home, it's very, very difficult to do, especially when you have, someone like her daughter who's at an age where a lot of things are happening and she's getting involved with things. So not being able to be there for that is very, very difficult. I can't know that for a fact yet. My son is only 2.5 years old, but I hate missing things that he's doing, especially when I go out and I don't play well. When you don't play well on the disc golf course and you miss an opportunity to hang around with your kids and your spouse, it's double the pain. So, props to her for analyzing her own situation and deciding to make this change for herself. I think that truly this is the best thing for Kristin, and ultimately that's all that matters in this particular case. So I wish her the best of luck. I hope we get to see her in some events in the future, to her comfort level, of course. I do say that this does open up a rather large gap when it comes to the FPO side of disc golf, not just from a talent perspective, because we have players who are very talented like Silva and Evelina who can kind of step into the role of incredibly talented European disc golf player or incredibly talented FPO player. What we don't have, I think, with Kristin gone is an outspoken ambassador who kind of represents the professionalism of the FPO side of our sport. Because when you really look at it across the board from all, even MPO players as well, Kristin, I think, stood at the top next to only a very, very few people on the MPO side who represent, I would say, the absolute, the reflection and image of a champion in our sport. And so having her step away, obviously it's good for her and something she felt she needs to do, but it does leave a bit of a space there, and we're going to be looking towards our younger FPO players who have shown a lot of promise this year to see if any of them are going to step up and fill that gap. But that remains to be seen. I think it might take a little bit of time, and the FPO world is going to be reeling a bit, and all eyes are on individuals like Silva Saarinen, who the gap is now open in front of her to take that, to hop into that mantle as the best player in the world if she's able to do so. A lot of pressure similarly goes on to Holland Handley, Evelina Salonen, but it's a crazy time in disc golf. We only have a few more weeks left. Make sure to tune in this upcoming Wednesday as we take and break down the Green Mountain Championship, the first playoff event of this year. We're going to look at the courses, the changes, and really dive deep into who we think is going to come out and put their best foot forward as we move into the final stretch of the season. But for me, that's it for the day. Thank you so much for listening in. Make sure to leave a like, put a comment down below. What do you think about Kristin's future? Do you think she's going to play in some European events? What kind of disc golf did you watch this off week? Did you watch any of the smaller events? Do you enjoy watching the smaller A tiers that go on? Let me know. But make sure, if you can, to leave a subscribe. We really appreciate it. It's the best way you can support the growth of the channel. And if you're not out playing disc golf, make sure you go out and you watch some disc golf. But until next time, this has been Understable Discourse's Chain Reaction.